Hi, Dr. Tamra Harville here to discuss with you ways that you can revise your paper. This isn't a full list, but it gives you some ideas on how to get started. So I like to use the word dare. So I dare you to revise your essay. Plus dare is easy to remember because each one of these letters refers to something. First is the D, which stands for delete. Now I know you just got finished writing your essay. Why would you want to delete anything? You have to have that page minimum. But trust me, sometimes deleting some items will make the paper even better. Items you would want to delete are excess to avoid repetition. You don't want to keep saying the same thing again and again and again. And especially if you have the same words repeated again and again and again, you want to delete those or at least change them. For example, annotation verbs. You don't want to say the author states, the author writes, the author believes again and again. Instead, you've got this list in a handout in the Writing Center of all these other verbs that you could be using instead of those three. You can delete anything that goes off topic. You want to stay on topic. What is your specific topic? The biggest issue I come across with this is with the rhetorical appeals paper, where students fall into the summary trap, and instead of writing about their author and how well their author used the rhetorical appeals of logos, ethos, and pathos, they start writing about their author's topic. So make sure that you don't go off topic and do that. Also, any you don't want to put you in your paper because that puts your reader in your paper, or specifically your instructor in your paper. You don't want them in your paper. So use third-person pronouns. Sometimes you're allowed the I and first persons, but those are only on personal papers, so make sure you do know what your instructor wants. And then delete anything that is completely unclear, or clarify it. Because if it's not going to make sense to you, it's not going to make sense to us. So make sure that it is clear, and if not, clarify it for us. Okay, so once you delete things, you know what comes next. You're going to have to add things. But there's specific things you can add to make your paper better. One is transitions. You don't want your papers to seem like they are just a bullet list or a list. You want to transition. Think of your writing as a giant chain where what you just wrote connects to the next thing. If they don't connect, you're missing that transition. You're missing that link. The transition will connect them. So you could say, in addition to point number 1, here's point number 2. And that makes that simple connection for you. Add an explanation for clarification. If you can't really clarify it, just explain it a little bit better, and then that way we can understand it. Add examples to explain. This one is, if you're using a source specifically, you can pull in an example from their writing to explain what it is you're talking about. Or in the rhetorical appeals paper, you could tell us where they could have fixed something. So for example, if you say that they really lacked in evidence, then use an example from their paper where they could have used evidence but didn't. So sometimes you can use an example that isn't even there. And then add support to strengthen what it is you're talking about. Whether it is from one source or from multiple sources, having somebody else's voice to support you makes a difference. So add those things to strengthen your paper. Okay, R is rearrange. Our brains fire like this, but our writing is supposed to be linear. How do you take these and pull them down and put them in a line? Sometimes you can't. And you get off topic or you bounce around on topics. So rearrange everything where it needs to be. Rearrange topics by the order of importance. I usually say it's best to leave your most interesting topic in your essays as your last topic, unlike starting off strong, because if you think about it, if you go to a movie and all of the action's up front and the rest is just talking, you're going to lose interest and walk away, all right? So like that, think of your essay where you want to build interest. So leave that most important or most interesting topic last, build up to it, and it'll keep your reader going. Rearrange your subtopics to the paragraph where they belong. Sometimes I'll be reading a paper and a student changes their topic because it's the next thing they're going to talk about and they haven't gotten to that point yet. So make sure everything within that paragraph supports and gives evidence to that specific topic and that topic sentence. If not, it's in the wrong paragraph. Rearrange your subtopics in your paragraphs to match those in the order of your thesis statement. So if your thesis statement has A, B, and C, you want your paragraphs to be A, B, and C. You don't want to be C, B, and A or B, C, and A. So you're either going to need to rearrange your paragraphs to match your thesis or just rewrite your thesis to match your paragraphs. But rearranging, putting things where they belong helps. This is where color coordination helps. If you have markers, sometimes it helps to go through your paper and just highlight with one, like highlighter, all the things dealing with one topic, and then go with another highlighter for another topic and rearrange those highlighted areas to be where they belong, match them up, and they'll flow better. And then the last one is E, which is edit. We save edit for last because if you're going to delete and rearrange or clarify, you might already be changing some of those issues. So if you're looking for the tiny things first before looking at the big picture, you may be fixing things you don't need. So wait to do the small stuff last. Small stuff could be spelling errors. Yes, our computers do underline spelling errors, so we can right-click and find out what word they suggest. Sometimes they miss it. Form and from are both spelled correctly. Dessert and desert are both real words, so just because you're missing an S when you're talking about a dessert does not necessarily mean the computer's going to underline it. So you have to do your own spell checking. Locate sentence structures errors. Can't even say it. Sentence structure errors. These are the three most common. Comma splices, where you have two sentences with only a comma to connect them. Comma's not strong enough. Usually you need a conjunction after, such as but, or, yet, for, and, nor so. Sometimes that's all you need, or that comma just needs to be a period. Run-ons. This is where you have multiple sentences stuck together with nothing to hold them together. Sometimes they just need a comma before the and or the but, or sometimes they need a period. And then fragments or incomplete sentences. These usually happen in one of two different ways, where either the person is writing and then they hit a period and then they finish that sentence, and when you read it, it sounds right. So I could say, I think I'll bring an umbrella to work, period, because it's supposed to rain this afternoon. Now, if I just read it, it sounds right, but that period's saying these are two separate things. And because it's going to rain this afternoon is not a complete sentence on its own. It has to be connected, so that period should be a comma. Another way fragments are done is when you have, like the word because in front of a sentence or while in front of a sentence. It makes that word a fragment. So make sure that you check for these specific types of errors. The best way to check for these is to read your paper backwards, sentence by sentence. Because if you go from beginning to end, you're going to fill in the blanks. You're going to connect sentences that really have a period there. So if you read them backwards, sentence by sentence, if you come across because it's going to rain this afternoon, you're going to go, wait a minute, that's not right. And you're going to know it needs to be connected to the sentence prior. And then subject-verb or subject-pronoun disagreements are things you could look for. Subject and verb agreements would be, I wouldn't say, I gone swimming last weekend. Make sure those subjects and verbs match. If you use a there is, there are type statement, the there is not your subject of that sentence. It's what follows usually. So if I said, there is 14 students in my class, well, students are in my class. So there is students doesn't work. So make sure your subjects and verbs agree. Subjects and pronouns would be if I am talking about someone, I don't switch it to the word you. If you use the word one as a pronoun, keep that word one, or someone as one later. Now in MLA and APA both, they're saying now it is okay to use the word they pronoun as a singular pronoun because the he, she, he or she gets kind of tiresome in papers. So if you don't know the gender of your author, you can call them a they. Now keep in mind, it's always instructor's preference. So make sure it's okay with your instructor. So this is Dare to Revise Your Essay. This is one type or a group of types of ways where you can edit your paper and revise it to be better. Thank you.